Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I am doing another Sporting Blizzard podcast. So thank you all for tuning in, but let's jump straight into some NBA Finals talk. And straight up, the Raptors won Game 3. And they dominated. It looked like it's lights out. No chance the Warriors come back. No chance at all. Except Klay was out. If Klay plays Game 4, I'm taking the Warriors. If he's out Game 4, I'm taking the Raptors, and I think the Raptors win the series. But Klay, he kept the Warriors in Game 2. Without Klay, they're down 0-3. Raptors are up 3-0, looking for their first NBA championship. Kawhi Leonard can leave then and say, look, Toronto, I gave you the championship. I'm leaving. I'm going to go be happy. Thank you for the fun season. But if Klay comes back, this is right back into being a series. Now, I know all the talk is, if Kevin Durant's back, Kevin Durant's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player. But Klay's more important in this team than Kevin Durant. You could argue, perhaps, Andre Iguodala is more important in this team than Kevin Durant. I disagree with you, but you can make the argument. Klay and Curry are the two centerpieces of the Warriors franchise. You take one of them out, it's not the same. But when you put them both, when you put the Splash Brothers side by side, they can go to war and they can win you basketball games. Kevin Durant, yes, he can win you basketball games, but can he carry a team in the NBA Finals? We might find out next year if he goes to the Knicks. Let's face it, Knicks don't have that much talent. Maybe they can acquire some talent, but right now, you look at the Knicks roster, they have none. Durant goes there, we'll find out if he can do it. But Klay and Curry, together, those two, they've done it before. You can say Draymond helped, yes, he did. But who are the two stars? Who are the two stars when they beat LeBron? Klay and Steph. Draymond had a really good series, there's no doubt about it, and he got paid for it. But who really were the two guys that built this Warriors franchise? Brick by brick. That would be Klay and Steph. Those two guys built this Warriors dynasty. Now, of course, they had front office and all that help, but on the court, it's because of those two why they're still in it. It's because of Klay why they still have a shot to win the NBA championship. You take Klay out of Game 2, it's over. Raptors win. But you see Klay has a chance to come back. You see Klay can play Game 4 perhaps. Now, I thought he was going to sit for Game 3. I did not think he was playing. It's a hamstring injury. You take a game off. Even if you don't want to, and I get it, it's a championship. You don't want to take a game off. But you need to. And I think the Warriors made the smart decision by sitting him. You can easily injure a hamstring more. Hamstring's very delicate. You have to take care of it. And it's an easy thing to heal, too. If you're careful. If you're not, you're screwed. The Warriors knew that. That's why Klay sat tonight. He probably could have played. He probably could have done a decent job. But he may have also got hurt worse. And they're looking at it. We need him for Game 4. We need him for Game 5. We need him for perhaps Game 6, Game 7. We need him for those games. Game 3, oh well, we'll just toss that aside. And the Raptors, they need to win Game 3. Game 3 was a must-win for the Raptors. You cannot go down 2-1 and play another game in Golden State. The next game in Golden State, you'd be down 3-1. Death sentence for the Raptors. But if you're the Warriors, you look at it like, we can sit them. Who knows? Maybe we win. Maybe we win Game 3. Who knows? But wouldn't we rather have him for the rest of the series instead of playing him one game and then losing the series 2-4? Or have a shot to win 4-2? 4-3. Let's face it, the Warriors knew what they were doing with Klay, and this series is far from over. Now let's talk about something else. Let's talk about something a bit different. The MLB draft is the most interesting draft. Not to watch. Personally, not a big fan of watching it. It gets long, gets boring. But why is it interesting? It's the only draft that lets players bet on themselves. Players get drafted at high school senior to college senior. You can either go to college if you're a high school senior, you can stay at college till your college senior year, and risk your draft position. Now, this has happened time and time again. People have rose, people have fall. But it's interesting. It's the only draft that players actually bet on themselves. They control the keys to their future. Now, in the NFL draft, you're taken by that team. You're pretty much stuck with them now. NBA draft, same thing. Really, there's not a way out unless you're a Euro player. The MLB draft, though, is completely different. If you're drafted by a team you don't like, front office, whatever, just say I pass. Bet on yourself. Or if you think this is the highest you're going to go, if you think this is a mediocre draft class, and you can get a higher signing bonus, you can just go straight from high school on, or all the way up to your college senior year. If you think this is higher than you should be picked, you can get as much bang for your buck. That's why I think the MLB draft is interesting, because it's different. Should the NFL let people do this? I don't think so. I don't think it works in the NFL. Should the NHL do this? I don't think it works in the NHL. I don't think it works in the NBA. With how many farm systems the MLB has, it works. Because you can take a high school player, and I know hockey does it, but let's be honest, they're developed a lot better than some high school players are. Hockey players are pretty much thrown into a pro league at 16 years old. MLB players, yeah, you kind of got that. High school players, you kind of got that, but you really don't have that pro experience against actual men. But you can do it for the MLB still, because it takes so much longer to develop these players than it does in the NFL, NBA, NHL. Again. Baseball players, usually by the time they're drafted, it's 5 years later. If you're a college kid, then it's 2 to 3 years later. Before you're even playing the MLB. Then when you become a star, it's completely different. That could be 10 years away. It's so long in the MLB. That's why it's the only way, it's the only sport league that works. Maybe soccer does. I don't know enough about soccer to know if it would work. Baseball I know works, and I'm happy that they do it because it's something actually interesting about their draft. The NBA, they have drama leading up to the draft. They have all these trade demands. I want to be traded. NFL, you got trades going all over the place. Oh, that's the guy, that's the player I want. I want to trade up to get it. Could the MLB let trades happen? Yes, I think that would really help bring in viewership to the MLB draft, because other than that, it's boring and hard to watch. But I want to bring up my idea of kind of what I like about the MLB draft and how players get to bet on themselves, because it's not really highly talked about. And I'd like to get some viewership to it because it's a very interesting topic that I think people should look into. Now we're going to wrap up today talking about some football, because that's what I love. I love football. And what are we going to talk about? Baker Mayfield. Why do I have an issue with Baker Mayfield? It's not really with Baker in particular, but I kind of hate this perception he's got going for him. See, everyone loved with what he said about Duke Johnson. It's self-inflicted. Everyone ate that up. Every media member ate that up. But what if it wasn't coming from Baker's mouth? What if it was coming from Ben Roethlisberger's mouth? Oh, the media, he's not a team captain. He's not a team player. Listen, I just wanted to talk about agendas, and I'm going to use two quarterbacks for this example. The media has a certain agenda with Ben Roethlisberger to make him out as this egotistical quarterback that does not work with others. While Baker Mayfield says the same thing. He's this fun, energetic guy that everyone wants to play with. Well, that's just it. He's young. Let's face it, if Ben Roethlisberger was 26, 27 years old, this whole Antonio Brown thing, it's just young immaturity. It will grow. It'll go over. What about with Baker? Clothesline self-inflicted. About a trade demand? About a team that went out and acquired Kareem Hunt. Now, I'm not saying Duke should wallow away. He should go cry in a corner. No, go compete for the job. That's what I think Duke should do. But with what I also think, Baker should have his back. Because Duke Johnson's an incredible player. I'd want that guy on my team anytime. Great third down guy. And he could still be the week 1 starter. Is Nick Chubb good? Yes. But Duke Johnson is also good. Baker Mayfield said it's self-inflicted. Self-inflicted. How? The organization went out and got Kareem Hunt, who has had his issues. He is suspended. And why is that Duke Johnson self-inflicting it? Because he re-signed with the team when no one wanted to? Is it because he's not the shiny new toy? Why is it, Baker? Why is it self-inflicted? He showed up to camp. He showed up. He's willing to put in the work. Why are you saying self-inflicted? There's so many different ways we can look at this. And I'm looking at it as this. I don't like what Baker said. Because I don't like the word self-inflicted. Maybe we can say that behind closed doors to him. But not to the media. With what I also don't like, Duke Johnson kind of saying, yeah, I want a trade demand. I don't like that on public air. Again, behind closed doors. If Duke leaves, that's a big loss for the Browns. It might not seem like it, but he might be the best third down back in the NFL. He might be the best receiving back in the NFL. If I'm the Patriots, I'm calling. If I'm any team, I'm calling. Preferably, I'd like to see him go to the Chiefs. I'd like to see him run screenplays to Andy Reid. I think that'd be a lot of fun to watch. But why are we calling this Duke Johnson thing self-inflicted? He's done nothing but been a team player for the Browns. He showed up. He was part of that 0-16 team. Played his heart out. He's played his heart out every year. He's one of the most fun players to watch. And if you have the time, go click on some Duke Johnson highlights and just sit back and enjoy. He is talented. And maybe he needs a new change of scenery. Maybe the Dolphins would work perfectly for him. Maybe the Bills. I just kind of want to see him out of Cleveland right now because I have a feeling something big can blow over. And that's with what you're not hearing. If this was Ben, for example, saying this to James Conner, that, oh, it's self-inflicted. Or how about this? Jalen Samuels, the guy that they had cover for the injured James Conner last year. The team drafted Ben Snell. Well, he goes and demands a trade. And Ben comes out and says, it's self-inflicted. He's not allowed to say that. You cannot say that. No. Because it's not self-inflicted at the end of the day. It's a general manager making a team decision. It's a general manager making a business decision. Duke Johnson's not self-inflicted. Jalen Samuels is not self-inflicted. I don't know with what Baker is saying is self-inflicted here. Because none of it is. Him asking for a trade? So? He's been loyal to this team. He's been part of this team longer than Baker. He's one of the few guys from that 0-16 team. And he was one of the good players in that team. That team did not have many good players. Duke Johnson was a good player. Duke Johnson, if given the right opportunity, can be a Pro Bowler. Can be a guy that people know of. But until he gets the opportunity, all he's now going to be known as is the guy that self-inflicted himself for a trade demand. Which is not fair for Duke.